Hello, I'm very angry. I'm going to be awarding the Crocodile Feeder of the Week award to Rutgers University, specifically to Chancellor Molloy of Rutgers University. So I'll explain why I'm so angry, because normally I find it a little bit amusing when I see people feeding that crocodile. However, on this occasion, it's just becoming too much. It's becoming too much to see Western liberals, intellectuals and scientists grovelling to a bunch of ideologically driven religious warriors, because that's what the Students for Justice in Palestine is. Some of them are religious warriors on behalf of Islam, and some of them are religious warriors on behalf of some sort of left ideal, so they feel they should be supporting Palestine. But the point is that here, look, anti-Semitic attacks rocketed by 74% across the US. And we've seen films of groups. I mean, it's always groups, isn't it? Groups of, oh, that reminds me. I'll try and get the video. Okay, I was going to say it's always groups of Muslims just going to like cafes where there are Jews sitting and throwing fireworks and things into them. You know, brave, aren't they? But there's a nice one. If I can find it, I'll show it. Well, no, it's going to take too long. Basically, it's a religious Jewish man standing in a doorway with some shopping or something, and this guy who looks like a Muslim, he may not be, but he looks like one, a young man, he goes up to this fellow and he kicks him. And it was a sort of sucker kick, you know, he just went up and before the fellow even knew what was happening, he'd kicked him. But this fellow, for all his long black coat, fought back. And as soon as he showed any signs of fighting back, this young, probable Muslim ran away, straight away. He looked to be younger and fitter, but the first sign of any pushback, and he just ran. And he turned back as if he was going to, and this religious Jew just sort of held his fists up or something, and he went. And this is a good example of how you should behave in such a situation, and how Chancellor Molloy did not behave. And what happened was he issued a sort of like a warning, really. There have been anti-Semitic attacks and incidents, and I want you to know that we have to learn the lessons of history. We are saddened by and greatly concerned about the sharp rise in hostile sentiments and anti-Semitic violence. And he should have left it there. But he didn't, because he didn't want to be seen to be supporting Jews. Now, why he didn't want to be seen is something between him and his God. But my suspicion is his God is the salary he gets from Rutgers University. But that's just my personal opinion. Instead of leaving it there, he decided to dilute it so he didn't look like he was being partial. So the next paragraph, last year's murder of George Floyd brought into sharp focus the racial injustices that continue to plague our country. And then, no, he comes up with a list. Asian American Pacific Islander citizens, indigenous peoples, and Hindus and Muslims. He had to bring everybody in, and he thought thereby to draw the venom that he knew he was going to get from people who would attack him for supporting Jews. Instead, what happened was the Students for Justice in Palestine saw the weakness and exploited it. Now, there's this huge long letter, which it would take me hours to go through, But at one point here, they pick exactly on Molloy's weak dribble into inclusivity. In addition, we have deep concerns about the Chancellor and Provost's decision to lump the murder of George Floyd and attacks against the AAPI community, Indigenous persons, the list again. By attempting to combine each of these significant issues for the purpose of making a blanket statement decreeing that racism is bad, Chancellor Molloy and Provost Conway trivialise these issues and the experiences of their students who are impacted by them on a consistent basis. I want to tell you the English in this is pretentious and dreadful. I mean in the whole thing, but I'm not going to go through that now. So that was the day after Molloy's letter was issued on the 26th. On the 27th, the Students for Justice in Palestine issued this great long screed. And then the same day, Molloy issued an apology for warning students against the evils of anti-Semitism. He issued an apology like that. What a worm. And indeed, somebody put a tweet up. I don't know who this guy is, but he says, how can somebody this week be leading a university? And this is what he says. Well, this apology. Our goal of creating a beloved community will not be easy, and while we may make mistakes along the way, we hope we can all learn from them as we continue this vital work together. Words, just words, 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 as Shakespeare said in Hamlet. And he started, hang on, Rutgers University is a community that is enriched by vibrant diversity. No, it's a community that is being bullied by a jihadist organisation, basically, but you will give in to it. And he says, we sincerely apologise for the hurt that this message has caused. So he says anti-Semitism is bad, and then he apologises that he might have offended some Muslims for doing this. Well, of course, that weakness didn't stop there. The SJP put in another statement in which they refer to the apology released by Chancellor Molloy in scare quotes, because they say it's not an apology. It wasn't grovelling enough. And they end with, we demand that Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, publicly announce its ties to Israel. You see, now we've got the knife in, we can twist it, we can do what we want. We want you to abase yourselves. We want you to grovel. We want you to apologise. Because you said anti-Semitism is bad, and we're not going to stand for that. I want your accounts now. With the above, so after you've grovelled enough, the SJP welcomes dialogue between Rutgers administration. So we're important now. You have to talk to us. And the students it serves, but will accept, we're giving our terms, only transparent statements and releases going forward, and as always, free Palestine. So we want to be unhindered in bullying Jews because of what some Israelis and Gazans are doing to each other 6,000 miles away, or however far away that was. It's a disgrace. And it's a disgrace that Molloy started with his mealy-mouthed, stupid and completely spineless attempt at a warning right at the beginning, when all he should have said was, right kids, there's that's the dog, by the way, there's anti-Semitism, don't do it here, and that's it. And anyone who contradicts me, you come and have a talk with me. No. Let's bring in all the oppressed people. Let's pretend this is all part of the same thing. Let's pretend that Students for Justice in Palestine aren't a jihadist organisation backed up by communist sympathisers or people who want to tear down the system or something. No, let's pretend none of that is happening. And And let's be weak and soft and let them steamroller everything. Molloy, you, Mr. Chance. I have no doubt that a whole load of hysterical university administrators have been piling in on you, so maybe you're not entirely to blame. Jellyfish, the lot of you. Oh, I forgot. And here, by the way, is the Feeding the Crocodile Award for Rutgers University. You bunch of tossers. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.